Oh, hi everyone. Okay, so what I'm finding is that my videos take forever and a day to upload, even though I'm not doing anything too fancy on them. So I have parts one and part two recorded of the discovery. Part one went through page 1 through 15. Part two went 16 to 23. Part one is uploading, and part two is going to be uploading on my laptop as well. So I'm going to go back to OG style on this and try to show the discovery as I record part three on my phone, like all of the ones I used to do. Sorry, it's not as clear. And I can't really, my voice probably sounds a little less professional than it did with the snowball microphone. So anyway, here we go with part three of the discovery, as we're going back to the beginning and getting the facts as they are stated so we can find out where all of the bull malarkey started. And I am, of course, unable to stop myself from giving commentary because I can't stop myself from giving commentary. And the commentary I do is based on what we can find actual video and actual documentation of. Not my opinions per se, but it's my opinion that it's baloney that she gave all of her friends all of this drama to deal with when what her role was to inspire others how to sell. In the two MLMs that I have been a part of, there is very little time for personal conversations. It is all about, okay, have you hit your marks today? Have you hit your minimums for the month? Okay, how do we get you to that minimum? And then how do we get you to that bonus? And have you recruited anybody? And have you reached out to 10 people today? And it's all about that. And it's really about telling how you've done this as a leader and what inspires you and for you to inspire others on the team. And I see her doing none of that. Absolutely none of that. She used her pawns, her children, that she has defined, as we've talked about in the book Controlling People, about how controlling people do that. They assign those in their lives roles. They define them. So she defined her girls in what role they needed to play for these commercials to make her life look perfect, to make it look like she was the best mom they've ever seen, right? So here we are, and we begin here, and we are on, and now Boo is down for the moment. We'll see if he comes and pulls his shenanigans on my laptop, because everything I give him, it's not good enough. He wants to walk on the keys, because I think that's what he knows, that I'll get the most attention out of me. It'll get the most attention out of me, and be like, no, Boo, and because he wants me to go back to bed with him. It's all he wants. And my fibromyalgia kicked in, and I slept 21 hours. And my husband said he checked on me 3 times during today, and Boo was just sleeping on me. It was very cute. But Boo was not moving. I think he's cold, and he needs his warm mama to lay down on. So we'll see if Boo lets me have a few minutes to record here. And I'm trying to do each of these discovery pieces in about 1 hour and a half recordings at a time, so that, you can absorb it one day, kind of think on it. Like I say, please write your questions down, because I plan to, when I have my surgery, actually, hopefully, it will not be canceled this month. It will be on December 15th, and I'll have that full rotator cuff tear and bicep reattachment, and they'll get the bone that's growing in the tear out. So I'll be one hurting unit, and I'm not supposed to drive for 2 weeks, not supposed to do much for 2 weeks, just really supposed to be letting that area heal. So I plan on doing some lives where we can kind of talk about what you guys saw in the discovery that I may have not noticed, or that I did notice, and we can talk about where that spurned this rumor or that rumor. So I want you to be taking notes, okay? And with that, I think that we can, come together and keep moving forward. I don't like the circular reasoning that I hear certain creators do. And I, quite frankly, expected more out of certain creators based on their profession or said profession. To talk about the same thing over and over and over and over for 4 years straight, and then just recycle it, like you say something 3 days prior, something completely different 3 days later, and then your followers, your people who are listening and looking to you for answers, just get confused, and then they talk over and over. They're confused as to why they said it, and it's circular reasoning. And circular reasoning leads to nothing, and circular reasoning in everyday life creates anxiety. It's what a person who just frets and frets does. They're like, oh no, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what if this happens? Well, what if that happens? So she's creating anxiety. She's creating confusion. And her sidekick, Ed McMahon, kind of an Ed McMahon and Johnny Carson kind of thing they got going there, and it's just very unfortunate. Where I like to go, and I've seen that all 770 of you like to go to, is that we look at the things and we see it, we go and confirm it if we need to. If we have a question on this or that and how it hits us, then we go and confirm it, but then we move forward, seeking to put each of these pieces of the puzzle together, to work together to find the truth and the facts, and make sure that justice was done for the girls, and that if there was an injustice, then where do we go with that information? And how is it right for people who may be out there who had a part in this, who are not punished, and for somebody who maybe didn't play the entire role, taking the blame for it? How is that fair to that person? Ultimately, the truth needs to come out, and until certain people in here do talk, it will never come out, because the police have done their work. They must be very frustrated in the work that they did and seeing how it is manipulated and twisted. I'm frustrated in seeing how the truth and the facts and what the investigators found is twisted. They have to be too. I can't see that they aren't. They must be just shaking their heads because they can't say anything. They would lose their job. And the Hamburglar just goes out there and flaps those bat wings in her white and black sweater and speaks now, gets all of these paid vacations all over because she is touted as this expert in domestic violence. What does she do for domestic violence victims? Yeah, so anyway, as we begin here on page 23 of 1960, and it was dated as page 68 in the discovery, it says the supplemental report, and it says no property, FPD, report number 1806743, and Officer Kenneth Dahl on 8/14/2018, time 14:30, so that's 2:30, at 2905 Saratoga Trail. So he's next door, as we know. He's at Snitch Nate? No. Nosy Neighbor Nate? No. Oh. Nathan Trina Stitch. Sorry, I get confused. So here we are. It states he's a male. Interestingly, doesn't give his height, weight. Anyway, on August 14th, 2018, at approximately 09:15 hours, so 9:15 in the morning, Officer Dahl was asked to respond to 2905 Saratoga Trail and obtain video footage from Nathan Trina Stitch. Blanked out. Detective Baumhofer gave 3 times to check 0145 hours, 0530 hours, and 1247 hours on August 13th. So essentially, Detective Baumhofer Baumhover told Officer Dahl to go out there and obtain that video that neighbor Nate has from these times: 01:45 hours, 05:30 hours, and 12:47 hours on August 13th. Interesting that they didn't do like the 8 o'clock and whatnot, so they could show that what's her face most likely broke in and looked around the house herself, because she was mighty familiar and she wasn't yelling out for her friends. So if only those 3 times were checked, and if it is what we think, where neighbor Nate and Nicole Atkinson talked about, she's not answering. Will you cover me if I go in there? Yeah, I'll cover you. Yeah, he isn't going to offer up anything. And if the officers only asked for this time, that works to his benefit. He's like, I got you, girl. So Nathan showed Officer Dahl video footage. Officer Dahl recorded the video footage and will have it attached to the case. Nathan was asked for all the video footage for the 13th. Oh, this is getting dicey for them. Nathan said he would have his wife contact Xfinity and have the video footage transported. Nathan said he would contact Officer Dahl when the video footage was available. Nathan provided a phone number of, no further information, Officer Kenneth Dahl, 979, Frederick Police Department. Now, what we see here from what we've seen in subsequent interviews is that neighbor Nate was able to pop up what he wanted the officers to see, but when the officers wanted to see what they wanted to see with their own eyes, as opposed to what he's serving up on a platter, he's got to have his wife do it. So, Discovery page 69. And as a footnote, I don't think that footage was ever provided by neighbor Nate. I think that was his way of saying, I don't want my hands dirty because I was over there climbing the fence looking in the windows all the time. And anyway, Discovery page 69. Supplemental 4, and it says Walje, Walje. So this is from Officer Steve Walje, or Walhe. Report number 1806743, date 8/15/2018, and time 12:14 at the Frederick Police Department. Now it says statute 18 Tech 3 Tech 102 parentheses 1A, murder in the first degree, Watts Christopher Lee. A person charged. And then it has that in triplicate, where we see here, where we have triple counts of murder in the first degree for Christopher Watts. Now, as we have seen it written somewhere several times, it says that he got 5 counts of murder. We don't know where the 5th one belongs when they say that. We understand the 4th one is for the fetus, but that's always something that's a little off. On August 15, 2018, at 0600 hours, I reported to 2825 Saratoga Trail in order to process what I was informed was a consensual search of the scene for clues to missing persons that I was informed resided there. I am assigned as field evidence technician for this agency. I took various photographs of potential interest at the scene as I searched. I later had the same photographs logged into evidence. It was agreed at the beginning of the search that a CBI agent would take responsibility of taking overall photographs at the scene at this time. See agent's report. I collected various items to enter into evidence, including multiple electronic devices, watches, see property tab, and transported these items for immediate analysis by assisting agencies back at the Incident Command Center. I immediately logged these items and later, after initially analysis by agencies on scene, sealed and placed these items into evidence. Again, I am reading word for word. There are some serious grammatical mistakes that you see and hear, and it makes it hard to let the dialogue flow, but you can get the gist of it. But like I say, they get mad when they feel that people are too interested in a crime and they don't want internet sleuths doing this and that. Well, the fact of the matter is that when they don't have any leads, they don't have this and that, they're listening to what people say. And it's not like law enforcement is born and some special symbol pops out of their arm and you're like, oh wow, that person's going to be a detective when they grow up. No, it is anybody who wants to step up and they learn the procedural manner in which evidence is collected and how suspects are apprehended. They learn procedure. Anything out of that is based on talent, instinct, years on the job. So when you have just people, because our court system is constructed of juries of our peers, essentially investigators are in a position of policing the community as our peers. They don't have a special sixth sense that teaches them this means this. Those things are sorted out later in trial by attorneys, by experts in the field of forensics, of body language experts, etc., etc. So when we see things here and we start to see the grammatical errors, spelling errors, it goes to where I say, so much of the time it's not conspiracy, it's incompetency. And with that sip of the Gatorade, I go on. All right, let's see here. I collected a hardback book with its original Amazon shipping box that was titled Hold Me Tight, appearing to be brand new. I was informed that it had been located in the recycle bin. Okay, so this is the book that Shanann got when she was in North Carolina and told Christopher that he needed to read this because this is how he was going to behave from now on and fix their marriage. So obviously she sent it to him via Amazon with part of the $11.37 they had to spare per month. And he was nice enough to not throw it in the shit can. He was going to recycle it. It's nice of him. What did he think was going to happen when she saw the recycle bin with the book that she got? Okay, that speaks to motive. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm saying, that he didn't think she was going to see the garbage the next day. I can say that. It speaks to pre-planning. I collected a light blue nitrile glove that was located on the top of the refrigerator in the kitchen. On scene, I noted the location of what was believed to be S. Watt's personal luggage with ID attached to the outside indicating C. Watts. I was later informed that this item had been moved from where officers had initially observed it being, namely in a small corner area directly next to the stairs leading from the main level up to the loft. I observed it located just inside and to the left of the master bedroom doorway. It appeared to be completely packed with clothes and overnight items, toiletries, as if probably still packed from a trip that I was informed S. Watts had recently got back from. I unpacked the items to examine anything that might still stand out as abnormal, with photographs. It appeared to have some personal clothing items, toiletries, that one would take on any small trip. The most notable item collected on the scene and at the time is in what appeared to be out of order were pillowcases and a top bed sheet found within the kitchen trash can located next to the kitchen island along with other items generally found in the kitchen trash. So he's saying that there were pillowcases and a top bed sheet found in the kitchen trash. Now, that speaks to the cleanup after the incident. So we see a couple of things here that really do point to Christopher Watts. Okay? And we have that, and we know that. That does not take away the possibility of him pleading insanity, and it does not take away the possibility that other people were involved. But these do speak to him being guilty. Because, I don't know, I mean, I can't think of too many times. I mean, when I buy new sheets, generally I'll put the old sheets up to be used for, I put them in a pile for, if we move, if somebody in the neighborhood gets a new puppy or something, or, and they need blankets. I don't necessarily throw sheets away, especially if they have just like a couple of little holes in them. I can't think of a circumstance in which you would throw sheets away. So I understand where, some of this really did speak to his guilt. And old sheets really do help when you move, because you can put them over pictures and over dressers and everything. Because people think you have to pay for those moving blankets and stuff, but you know what? No, just save your old bedding. Especially as kids grow up and they change out of this one they want and this one they want. Just keep this area that you have the old sheets and comforters and stuff. Put them in a bag on a shelf in the garage. Don't have them out, because I did find out that mice like to use that as a nice little bed. And that's nice for the mice, but when you're getting ready to move and then you open it up and you get scared shit out of you because the mouse just doesn't, I'm speaking from experience, okay? And when the kids lose a hamster that they think it's dissolved into thin air because they didn't shut the frickin' hamster cage right, you may or may not find a dead hamster. I'm just saying. Okay? So anyway. So, other items generally found in the kitchen trash. Okay, so you got your normal stuff. And then most notably what appeared to be missing from an average bed sheet set. And possibly what was the fitted sheet portion of a set. I immediately passed this information on to supervisors in the Incident Command Center. So there they are in the Incident Command Center going, oh, yes, oh, you found these? Oh, yes, this is a good lead. Come on in. Come on back to the Incident Command Center. Come on. That's a good one. Yeah. And it also speaks to he's not the smartest criminal on the planet. If he did this alone and accomplished all that in that short amount of time, pretty accomplished criminal, leaving thousands, maybe millions of people wondering about this 4 years later, and me in the middle of the night here in the dark reading the discovery, wondering. So anyway, later on the same day, at approximately 22:12 hours, so that is 10:15 p.m., 10:12 p.m., I reported back to the scene to execute a search warrant. Ooh. You're coming in the night to execute a search warrant? 12 hours, yeah, because 23 is 11 o'clock p.m. So goodness sakes, they executed this search warrant in the night. Oh. I reported back to the scene to execute a search warrant. Items collected from the search were logged into evidence, and a copy of the search warrant was left on the kitchen island along with an inventory list. End of report. Officer Walleye, 978, Frederick Police Department. Sunday, August 19th, 2018, page 1 of 2 in that supplemental report. And we're going to discovery page 70. And we're going to supplemental number 4 to Officer J.E. And then we're coming over here and we're hopping into discovery page 71, supplemental number 5, Goodman. So supplemental number report, no property, FPD, arrestees and suspects, Officer Ed Goodman, time 1:20 on 8/16/2008 at location 3033 5th Street, report number 1806743, and it's about a vehicle. And it says vehicle type victim, license plate 528ZJV. It's a Lexus Utility 2016. The color is white. And it says person type victim, and it says Watts, Shanann Catherine. The VIN number, oh man, they took some of the VIN number out. Oh. But what they left of the VIN number that's not redacted is JT, redacted. Looks like another J, so it must be JTJ, redacted. CA 5G20, and then redacted. So I think it means it was you generated out of California. I think that's what that means when it's in a VIN, but who knows. And then the home address is 2825 Saratoga Trail, Frederick, Colorado, 80516. Home phone number 910-850-3286. And we go here to this dialogue. And it says, on Wednesday, August 15, 2018, at approximately 8:50 p.m., as requested by Sergeant Blakes, I secured the doors, rear hatch, fuel door, and hood of a white in color Lexus SUV bearing Colorado license plate 528ZJV with the VIN number. And again, they had that redacted, those parts are redacted. And it's the same as I just read. And the vehicle was a vehicle of interest in this active investigation, and I was further requested to have the vehicle towed and impounded by Brad's Towing in their secured inside vehicle storage. I secured the vehicle using evidence tape, which I signed and dated, and completed a Frederick Police Department vehicle impound recovery report. Once Brad's Towing arrived, I had to unseal the driver's door so the vehicle could be loaded onto the flatbed tow truck. The vehicle was then loaded onto the tow truck, and I followed it to the secured storage lot, where I once again secured the vehicle once it had been brought into the storage building. I realized that there may be another vehicle of interest from this case being transported to the storage lot, and once I again unsealed the Lexus so the tow operator could secure the vehicle further inside, making room for the other vehicle. The Lexus was then sealed with evidence tape, and the tape was signed and dated. I remained on scene at the storage lot until the building was locked and secured. Body-worn camera video footage of the vehicle being secured at the towing storage location is available on evidence.com. End of report. We hop over here to discovery page 72, another supplemental with James. James Matthews, the officer. So Officer Matthew, first name James, supplemental report, no property, FPD, report number 1806743, date 8/16/2018, time 1:57, 333 5th Street. On 8/14/2008, 21:38 hours, I responded to the Walmart at 2285 East Ken Pratt Boulevard, Highway 119 in Longmont. Reference a tip from a citizen advising Shanann was possibly sighted at the checkout line buying 2 booster seats and a child's potty seat. Upon arrival, I met with an assistant manager who led me to the surveillance rooms. Once there, we reviewed videotape and located an adult female with 2 young juvenile females in the self-checkout line at the store. One of the juveniles was sitting in the seat of the cart, while the other was seated in the car. The juvenile female seated in the cart had a long braided ponytail to approximately the middle of her back. I sent photos and video footage to Detective Baumhauer to review. Detective Baumhauer advised he did not believe those were the missing persons. Of course not, because as we know, check Sneaks Peeks, we had proof of Shanann cutting Bella's hair every 30 days and never letting it get long to the point where it looks like a little boy's haircut, is what others have said, and I agree. And Cece's hair was still pretty short. She wasn't getting the disciplinary haircuts because I don't think that Shanann could have contained Cece for long enough to let her sit, because she didn't have the relationship with Cece that she did with Bella. Bella's role was to be the sick one that she took out her anger on with her weird discipline, and Cece was the one that, she can't ever get to sit down because she's so full of energy, and she has to take these silly stickers and put them on because without them she couldn't handle a child like Cece. So anyway, at 8/15/2008, at approximately 2015 hours, I transported Chris Watts' father, Ronnie, from the Frederick Police Department to area hotels near Firestone Boulevard and the East 125 frontage road. Before leaving, Ronnie collected his duffel bag from the back of the white Lexus SUV. There were other items in the trunk of the SUV, and he advised the bag was the only item that was hit. It says it was hit instead of his. Ronnie went inside 3 hotels in the area, 2 of which he said had no vacancies, and he advised me he was going to stay Comfort Suites located at 11292 Business Park Circle, Firestone, Colorado. Again, I'm not illiterate. It doesn't say the word at. It says he was going to stay Comfort Suites. Now, I mean, why didn't Chris or Jamie or anyone call ahead and get him a room? Why was Ronnie having to go and be like the Virgin Mary on Christmas Eve, having me told there's no rooms at the inn? I mean, what the... Poor Ronnie. Well, he mumbles a lot, so they probably had no idea what he was saying. He's sort of like... And they're like, Anyway, poor Ronnie. I think he was a sweet man. Well, he is a sweet man. He's still alive. At approximately 22:05 hours, I took photos of Chris while he was at the interview room at the Frederick Police Department. The photos I took were him with his shirt off, his hands, head, neck, and face. There was a red mark on the left side of his neck that he identified as being a mosquito bite. There was also a red mark on the front of his neck. I did not observe any other signs of injury to Chris's body. See photos. At approximately 23:02 hours, I entered the interview room and placed Chris into custody via handcuffs. A belly belt was placed on him, and his hands were secured in the front. I then transported Chris to the Weld County Jail. Throughout the ride, which was recorded via body camera, I did not ask Chris any questions, and he did not make any statements. Chris was released to the custody of jail staff at approximately 003 hours. That means 3 hours after midnight, and it says no further information. Now, this is important to me. Was this... Okay. Let me look at this. Okay, so this is after Chris said he takes responsibility, or that when Hamburger ran into the room, because we have this officer taking Ronnie Watts from the police department to the hotels. But before leaving, Ronnie collected his duffel bag. Okay. So Ronnie and Chris... No, that doesn't even work out right. I guess, did Ronnie and Chris go down? No, because when Ronnie came in, they didn't know. Did Chris... How was the duffel bag in the back of the Lexus SUV that was Ronnie's? How did Chris get to the police department? It seems like this whole day, when Tamburglar raced in, after he showed where they were, in which oil, by crossing it off on the paper, then that's when they put him in custody. So this one officer takes Ronnie, puts Chris into custody, takes pictures of Chris. Huh. 8/16. So 8/16, this is reported. There's supplemental reports. So this is just being put together. So on 8/14, on 8/15. Huh. Interesting. Supplemental number 7, Albert. And it says, supplemental report, no property, FPD, and report number 1806743, Officer Ian Albert, date 8/16/2018, times 13:05, location 333 5th Street. I'm assuming this 333 5th Street is the police department. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I see we've got the ruse, so I'm going to take a drink of Gatorade here because I got to palate the ruse here. I got to... My throat closed up. Sometimes that happens when I talk about the ruse. I think my blood pressure shoots up. I don't know. Because here we go. On August 15th, 2018, this is in Sergeant Albert's words. Man, I've heard that, these scumbag attackers, when they hear someone getting a new channel, they go to them and they send them a new chair and a microphone and everything. And I haven't seen that happen. I think that that's all bullshit too. Because my chair is not comfortable and I had to go buy my own microphone. So wherever these people are that is said that they come out of the heater in your house and say, here, we'll buy you a chair. And that, they've not approached me. That's just all these stupid stories that came from this ridiculous channel that I thought had facts. I've learned, though. I've since learned that I was not in the right place. And, yeah. So, on August 15th, 2018, I contacted the mother of Shanann Watts, Sandra Rusick via phone. Sandra lives out in North Carolina along with her husband, Frank Rusick. And I asked Sandra to give me some background as to Shanann's marriage to Chris and what she may have observed over the past few months. Sandra informed me that her daughter and Chris had been married for the past several years, and over that time, things seemed great between the two of them. Sandra believed that Chris was a great father and husband, and that she couldn't ask for a better person to marry Shanann. Okay? Well, that's reassuring. However, there we go. Just like the but in a sentence, whereas I disregard everything I said, because now I'm going to put my but in here. Anyway, however, Sandra noted recently that Chris's behavior seemed to change. Recently, Chris, Shanann, and the grandkids had spent time out in North Carolina with Frank and Sandra. During that time, Chris appeared to be quite cold towards Shanann and the children. Sandra recalled one night where Shanann was quite sick due to her pregnancy and had been vomiting for most of the evening. Sandra noted that Chris not been supportive at all to Shanann, and Sandra found it quite odd. Sandra made other references to Chris's behavior being cold and indifferent towards Shanann. I asked Sandra if she knew why this could be, and she was not certain. I also asked Sandra how often she spoke to Shanann, and her reply was, in quotes, every day. Sandra described her relationship with Shanann to be extremely close, and they would talk on the phone frequently. They also chatted on video and Skype as well. Nothing further at this time. Sergeant Albert, 976, Frederick Police Department. Well, isn't that special? I won't say anything about the years you didn't talk, because you anyway. Okay, so FPD. So another report number 188-670-43 by Officer Bradley Davies, 8/16/2018, 1500, 333 5th Street. So 3 o'clock at the PD. On 08/15/18, between 1600 hours and 1800 hours, I stood at Aggregate Boulevard and Billings Avenue, one of the entrances to the Wyndham Hill subdivision. I made contact with vehicles and pedestrians entering or leaving the subdivision. I handed out flyers with information regarding this case and asked people if they had any information they thought might be relevant to this case. I asked each person I contacted if they had security cameras on their phones. I requested they contact Frederick Police Department if they have any video footage or vehicles of people in the neighborhood in the morning Shanann, Bella, and Celeste went missing. Nothing further at this time. Officer Brad Davies, Frederick Police Department. And then we're at Discovery page 75. We are at page 30 of 1960 and a supplemental number 9 Manly. And report number 180-6743, Officer Brent Manley, date of 8/16/2018 at 1535, 333 5th Street. So we are at 335 on the PD. On Tuesday, August 14th, 2018, I, Officer B. Manley, was called into the Frederick Police Department to assist with efforts to locate a missing mother and her 2 small children. I was tasked with conducting a canvas search of the surrounding areas to look for Watts. Shanann, date of birth 1/10/84. Watts Bella, 12/17/13. And Celeste, Date of birth 7/17/15. I walked around the community handing out flyers and speaking with homeowners in the area and trying to see if anyone had seen where the missing family went. At the time, I was not sure if they left on foot or in a vehicle and wanted to help locate them in a timely manner. While talking to several residences in the area, we were also able to locate several houses with a door ring camera or other types of video cameras. I did not see anyone walking in the area at the time, but the 3 parties went missing. I did not see any recording that showed odd vehicles in the area and did not see the 3 walk past any homes with cameras. While I was walking in the neighborhood, I was not informed of any sightings of the family, and I was not able to find anyone who saw or heard anything. I contacted a young Travis, unknown date of birth, who was able to provide me with camera footage from the Windham Hill subdivision's public pool. What the fuck? They had a pool in that neighborhood? And she never filmed herself taking the kids down to the pool. This would have been an easy way for her to have parented, okay? This is how you do it. Instead of locking up your kids, flowers in the attic style, every freaking day, you go down, you grab your mommy sunglasses, and you make some sandwiches and put them in the bag, and just grab anything as a snack, because when they're swimming and stuff and running around, they're hungry as fuck, okay? So then this is what I did, is you go and you get as much fruit as you can that is like you buy fruit and then no one eats it, so you just have all that fruit, and you make smoothies out of the fruit, and then take the sippy cups and you pour in everything in the blender that you've just put in there, just make smoothies, and you put them in their sippy cups, and then you put it in the freezer. So this is how she could have easy mom did it, okay? She gets up in the morning, puts on the sunglasses, brings her cell phone, laptop, and iPod, puts snacks in the bag, makes a couple of sandwiches, grabs the pre-frozen smoothies that have every fruit imaginable in them, walk down to the pool. We'll put the kids in the bikinis first. Bikini swimsuits, whatever, right? Put a towel over their shoulders. Put them in the vehicle. Drive down to the pool. Because even if it's half a block in the heat and coming back when they're tired is kind of a long walk. But she could have done it. Then she could have sat at one of the little tables around the pools that they put for moms to sit at. And she could have let the girls have, even if they couldn't swim that well on their own, she would have had them have like water weenies or whatever, and stay in the shallow pool. So usually they'll have like a little tot pool. So if she didn't want to, watch them in the bigger pool, she could have just let them play. They would have loved to play all day in the sun in a pool, and they would have tired themselves out, so they naturally would have fallen asleep probably around 7 or 8, and then they would have gotten up to go to school. She did not have to do the flowers in the attic crap. If she would have had a brain in her head and done what you do when you live in a subdivision that you're paying an HOA fee for and having the pool. That's easy. It is so easy. This is... She kind of had to make things more complicated than they were. No reason for her not to have done that. No reason. No reason. Anyway. So, this Travis Young provided him with a USB drive. Blah, 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 blah. Stop it. Scoundrel. 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 What's your baby doing? Huh? What's Scoundrel growling at? Huh? It's weird. I hear like a little dragon growling. It's just Scoundrel. then Boo is here, so he's not scaring her, and her mama's in here, so we don't know why Scoundrella's out there growling. She sometimes does it under my bed, too. She'll just sit there and growl, and it's really weird, because it's like I have the growling bed. And it's like, if anybody didn't know when they were, well, I guess everybody would know, and, well, yeah. I mean, I can't think of a circumstance where, well, maybe that's a good protective thing. Because maybe if somebody came into my bedroom to rape or kill me, they'd hear that I have a growling bed, and they'd be like, I'm backing the fuck out. Maybe it's a good thing. Because I'm just like, would you not make me have the growling bed, Scoundrella? But yeah, Boo Boo's not doing nothing naughty. No. It's being good so far. This is good. This is good. Okay. So, the USB was entered into evidence and attached to this report. I don't think we ever saw anything more about that, and I never heard about that. I'm just still pissed off about the subdivision's public pool. So I'll just read it. I'll read it again, and I will not have a coronary this time. So it says, young Travis, unknown date of birth, was able to provide me with camera footage from the Wyndham Hills subdivision's public pool. He provided me with a USB drive with several hours of video and several angles to the view. Well, who is he and why is he watching the pool? What? I did not see anything unusual, and I did not see any vehicles that were matching the husband's vehicles. I did not see anyone walking around during the night, but the cameras do not show all routes that someone would have been able to leave in the area. The USB drive was entered into evidence and attached to this report. So yeah, you never heard any of the neighbors say that, oh yeah, at the pool, or she usually takes them to the pool at this time, or we're usually at the pool. I was met by Levi Husk, unknown date of birth, on 8/16/2018 at the Frederick Police Department. Husk provided me with a USB drive. He stated that he lives in the 6300 block of Saratoga Trail. I have reviewed the video on the USB drive, but did not see anything pertaining to the early morning of 8/13/2018. I have placed the USB drive into the Frederick evidence lockers. I was provided 2 USB drives from Tess Simpkins. One USB drive was from store #10858 located at 10858 Jake Labs Boulevard, Firestone, Colorado 80504. The second USB drive was from store #1548 located at 16420 Washington Street, Broomfield, Colorado 823. I gave them to Commander Egan and CBI and FBI personnel. After they were finished with the USB drives, they were given back to me. I did not view the recordings, but have added the USB drives to this report and placed them in the Frederick evidence lockers. End of report. Officer B. Manley, #986, Frederick Police Department. I didn't know there was a pool in that subdivision. Like I said, that really pisses me off. Okay, Discovery page 76. Officer Brent Manley, supplemental report number 9. Oh, no. So here it is in their handwriting. You know how cops have that little steno tablet that fits in their pocket, and they have a pen, and they write down their notes. That may be what this is. It looks like when it's all blown up, it looks like it's a legal pad, but it was probably from those little steno notebooks that they have in their pocket. As it says, Ruby Hill Drive, 630, no information, door camera, but nothing on camera. 6325, no info. 6305, not home this weekend. Mother-in-law's in and out during the weekend. We'll reach out to them. 6333, no answer. So I suppose that when Officer Brent Manley was canvassing, he was writing information on each address that he went to and what they said. And then we're down here with another little note from Officer Manley. And it has no contact at 62 25 Saratoga Trail, 2908 Saratoga Trail has a ring camera, 6322 Steeple Route, Steeple Drive, nothing, 6316 Saratoga Crossed Out Drive, 6324 Saratoga Crossed Out Drive, 6311 Steeple Rock Drive. Yeah, these are his little steno pad notes because you can see that they're like little. So then he has gray truck at 5:15 a.m., 6:45 still there, 12 o'clock still there, 5:15 a.m. left, not normal for him, 2500 or 3500 something will pick up at corner. So it must have been they saw this and they saw it going in the direction. So that was a gray truck, and now we've got this white van. And it says white van 2 times on area. Gone 7 days prior to Sunday the 12th. Saw van in daylight and WATT done what? Don't know. So he's doing his scribble scratch that he knows the verbatim on, and I do that too when I do notes. Like I'll do this and I'll know that, okay, that word connects to this, so then when I sit down and type it out, or when I do this or that, or when I make this call that was in regard to that, I know what I meant. And I think that's what his little notes are here, because he's got this. Because then he says Gwendora Renderson 303, Coles at 10 a.m., entrance, whatever, Kipling 470, phone tapped, crossed out, green, whatever, 163 Dudley, Denver, Colorado, Sprosh, something. Then we've got Sergeant Vargo, Payson PD, Arizona, something 28, TAC 595, TAC 4013. So maybe he's maybe this is a sergeant in a surrounding Arizona area. And it says curly blonde hair, no vehicle, 3 to 4 days, 2 strollers, Stephanie Myers, Walker Watson, Marianne, Arizona, Nights Inn, looking something. And then when we go back over here, we see Dudley, whatever, Denver, Colorado, Sprout 720-305-0959. So we look at these and we're just going, okay, so these are probably just more people when he was canvassing and what they were saying, their conversations, what they had, blah, 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 because we're still in Officer Manley. Officer Manley seemed to be the one who had the boots on the ground, where he was asking, he was canvassing. The other ones were at the command unit, and there was a lot of people in here, and as you heard, there was the FBI and CBI as well. And what Tamberger worked for the CBI or whatever. We're still going here. And then we have this where it says 12 a.m. till present, home. And it looks like it says Depot, but it says like High 7. And then Home Depot 119. I love Home Depot. I lurk around in there like it's my home. Discovery page 80. And then we go supplemental 10 with Coonrod. Scott Coonrod. Officer Coonrod is one we hear a lot in this. And the date is 8/16/2008. The time is 21:30. So we're looking at 9:30 p.m. at 335 5th Street. And then we have this. On August 15, 2018, at about 22:45 hours, this officer responded to an Anadarko oil well site near Rogan, Colorado. GPS 40.21.625, TAC 104.36.69.8, in parentheses 40-12-58.50686, TAC -104. That was a TAC, sorry, TAC 104-22-114149 to search for evidence. And I'm including all of these things in here because I want you guys to know everything, because it's time to go back to the drawing board. And that's what we're doing here. And when I put in those things, I want that to be available so that if you want to go back and write that down and then Google that location and look around how you want it, that's why I'm putting them all in here. I'm putting everything in here. So if you're just listening and taking notes, if it's not showing on the computer, because I don't know if it is, because I'm just not very good at this technical stuff. I don't know if it's showing on the other one when I'm doing it. I haven't checked yet, and this obviously isn't very clear. But if there's been something in your mind that you've been really wondering about, I hope that with me going through this with a fine-tooth comb, you're going to hear it and know, because we have to remember this is all they provided to convict Christopher Watts with either 4 or 5 life sentences. Some people say it's the 5, some people say it's the 4. So as we went on and we've seen things otherwise and afterwards, this is what was used in the entire investigation. Everything. So unless you have seen videotape or documents afterwards to confirm something, this is where everything begins and where it ended. So now that we know where he's at this Anadarko oil well site with the GPS coordinates as stated, it says, upon arrival, I was advised by Colorado Bureau of Investigations that they had collected several pieces of evidence and placed them in evidence bags. Hair samples from the thief hatch on top of an oil battery, parts of a rake, a bed sheet, and other things had been collected. These items were given to Detective Baumhofer. We started excavating a potential dig site about 100 feet from the oil tank battery. The dirt appeared to have been freshly dug. At about 2300 hours, we located the body of an adult female, which we believed to be Shanann. The body was decomposing and was removed at about 0010 hours, so 10 minutes after midnight. The body was in a shallow grave. The buttock was approximately 8 inches from the top of the burial site. Weld County coroner took possession of the body. Photographs were taken. Nothing further. Officer Coonrod. 09 TAC 01. Frederick PD. Very sombering. Now, where it says the buttock was approximately 8 feet from the top of the burial site. And we have heard, and I don't know if it's documented further, but she was buried upside down. So that's where they say, so this was a very shallow grave. If her buttocks were only 8 inches down, I mean, you see some premeditation, but you don't see it to the level in which he thought he could get away with it, or was he framed? I'm looking for a ruler. Something I could show you 8 inches. Yeah, you can hear somebody else around here going, I'll show you 8 inches. But, you know, I don't have a pervy man around here awake. Anywho. So they collected hair samples from the thief hatch on top of an oil battery. Parts of a rake, a bed sheet, and other things that had been collected. So, where were those taken? Let's see. Hair samples from the thief hatch on top of an oil battery. Okay, we got that. Parts of a rake. So, was the rest of the rake ever located? Or was the rake put in the oil tank as well? The bed sheet, we know, was around Shanann. And it had that reddish clay dirt that initially looked to investigators like something much worse than it was, and then they shook it out and found it was dirt, and that had the fluid around the baby, the amniotic fluid was in that as well, and mixed with that clay. Made it look very bloody. It was not. Okay, now we're on Discovery page 81. Supplemental coon rod. Report no property, FPD. Report number 1806743. Officer Coonrod, 8/16/2008, 2153, location 333 5th Street. So they're at the command center, and it is 9:53, almost 10 o'clock p.m. their time. On August 16th, 2018, this officer responded back to the oil well site near Rogan, Colorado, to check the oil tank battery for the missing children. A grid search around the oil well site was conducted. A piece of rake was found. Okay. The rake piece was given to Detective Baumhover. Anadarko had vac trucks on site and began draining the crude oil out of the oil tank battery in a holding tank. The crude oil was then pumped into the vac truck using a hose with a screen on it. After the crude oil was removed from tank number 17697, Colorado State Patrol hazmat crew removed the entry door. I'm going to go ahead and give those of you who do not like listening to sensitive information a trigger warning that you may want to walk away for 5 minutes. Go grab yourself something to eat or drink, and we can go through the rest of the report is not as sensitive as the next couple of sentences and possible 5 minutes will be. Okay? So here we go. Deep breath, guys. Deep breath. After the crude oil was removed from tank number 17697, Colorado State Patrol hazmat crew removed the entry door. At about 15:30 hours, CSP hazmat crew entered the oil battery and found who we believed to be Celeste Watts. The juvenile was wearing a diaper. The body was decomposing and was completely covered in crude oil. Weld County coroner took possession of the body. Anadarko tank then drained tank 17698 in the same manner. At about 1750 hours, CSP hazmat crew entered into that oil battery and removed who we believed to be Bella Marie. Weld County coroner also took possession of the body. Photographs were taken and the removal was recorded on taser. Nothing further. Officer Coonrad, 09 TAC 01 Frederick PD. Whoever fucking did this needs to burn in fucking hell. Discovery page 82. Trigger warning over. And Officer Catherine Lyons. Time 053, location 333 5th Street. Report number 1806743. On Friday, August 17th, 2018, I received a Safety to Tell report stating that a woman who identified herself as Juanita saw on the news that a woman and her 2 daughters were found dead and that Chris Watts was to blame. She goes on to state that one of her Facebook friends has a daughter named Bella and that he mentions misinformation about having a wife. She stated that she has more information but wants to wait and didn't know what school, so she just chose one. The report has no contact information for Juanita. A copy of the Safe to Tell transcript has been added to the file. Nothing further. Officer K. Lines. Hashtag 989. Wonder whatever happened with Juanita. Discovery page 83. Supplemental report, no property. FPD, report number 1866743. Officer Catherine Lines, 8/17/2018. Time 1:42. Location 335. So command center. And 1:42 in the morning. They're not going on military time when they do this. They don't go 0142. So you wonder if some of them go on military time or if there's a little AM PM that's checked and it's not there. Just wondering. So then over here we've got quite the dialogue. So I'm going to take a drink of Gatorade and hope that my throat is open. On Tuesday, August 14th of 2018, at approximately 11:45 hours, in the state of Colorado, county of Weld, town of Frederick, I, Officer Kate Lines, responded to the police department and met with a search and rescue team and their canines for search efforts regarding the disappearance of Shanann Watts and her 2 children. After being briefed on the situation, I, along with Officer Perez, Deputy T-CAC, T-K-A-C-H, T-CACH, Boulder County Sheriff Jane, this is a tough one too, Zimwalski, Z-M-I-J-E-W-S-K-I, so Zimhesky, and Jeff Hebert, search and rescue dogs of the United States SARDUS responded to the home of the missing individuals. Upon arrival, I contacted Chris Watts and explained to him that the Frederick Police Department brought in some extra resources, search dogs, to help in locating this family. With his permission, he allowed a full search of his home. Prior to the beginning of the search, Deputy Tkach explained what would be needed for the dogs to have a successful search. She explained the need to collect scent articles. While speaking with Chris about appropriate items such as shoes and clothing, she stated the importance of the items not being touched by anyone else. Each time Deputy Tkach asked Chris about the specific items, he mentioned that he had in some way touched them. Deputy Tkach was able to collect the scent from shoes. Well, yeah, because he was the only one taking care of the girls. So, yeah, he would, help them put on their clothes and whatnot. He helped them put on their shoes. He was very hands-on. She wasn't. He was the hands-on father, and that's why I just don't think he could have done something so unspeakable. But anyway, upon entry to the home, I immediately noticed a strong odor of cleaning chemicals. The home appeared spotless, and the carpet had noticeable vacuum lines. Oh, I like vacuum lines. I'm not very good at the vacuum lines, but my son is, so that's been his chore, is to do the vacuum lines. As we walked to the kitchen living room area, I observed that the television was on a sports show. While standing by the back slider door, Deputy Tkach inquired about the little girl's shoes on the back porch. Chris said that the girls wore them to a pool party and that the shoes had been wet, so he put them out to dry. During the conversation, Chris mentioned that he had made the little girls' beds that morning and had done laundry. He said that he had a hard time sleeping and he was used to one of his little girls throwing chicken nuggets at him and the other one sitting in the high chair. What? He said he had a hard time sleeping. He's used to one of the little girls throwing chicken nuggets at him and the other one sitting in the high chair. What? That's their relationship? They huck chicken nuggets at him? What? Can you not? Oh, my word. Chris was asked about Shanann's car and if she drove it to the airport, and he said no. Nikki dropped her off. It's the white car out front. He was asked if he drives it, stating the white car in the driveway. No. He was asked if his wife has a car, and he pointed to the garage and said yes. When asked if he drives it, he stated that he took the girls to a pool party in it on Saturday. Did they throw any nuggets at him? Officer Perez commented to Chris that he can't imagine what he's going through. While speaking to Chris, he showed no emotion and did not seem to respond appropriately to the situation. Chris did not ask any questions to offer or help at any time. Chris's facial expressions rarely changed. However, when they did, he seemed to smile or smirk inappropriately, displaying a lack of empathy, specifically when speaking about his children. His voice remained low and even-toned. His nonverbal cues were very apparent. Chris had been very erect and almost tense posture, and his arms crossed a majority of the time. Chris lacked eye contact and appeared to be nervous, looking around constantly. Chris escorted us through the entire house, showing us each room, including the laundry room, where he dug through dirty laundry and again mentioning he was doing his kids' laundry. Prior to beginning the search, Chris was asked to step outside so there was no interference with the dogs. Deputy Perez remained with him, and the front door remained open so that at any time he wanted to discontinue the search, he could do so and the information could be easily relayed. I entered the home with Jane and her canine, who she stated is a cadaver dog. As we moved through the home, Jane explained what type of scent the dogs alert to. Jane mentioned several times that the dog alerted to areas where there may have been some sort of trauma or struggle, such as an argument, explaining that scent from people, pools, and collects in areas. The dog did not locate any human remains. The search continued from the neighborhood clubhouse, west and then north, circling back to the home without success. Jane's dog was later taken to Chris's work truck, which was parked just east of the home. Jane stated that the dog detected, but gave no hard command. However, the dog did not enter the vehicle, and the doors to the vehicle remained closed. Well, why didn't they ask her to open it? Supplemental 13 lines. In the home, a track dog was asked to enter, as there had been some indication, some indication from the cadaver dog that a struggle or argument may have ensued. Jeff Hebert and his canine entered the home. Jeff stated that his dog showed interest in the unmade bed in the basement and an area just below the stairs, but did not do any final trained alerts. We exited the basement and went upstairs to the garage. No indicators were noted in the garage, and we exited the home. After completion of the canine searches, the canine team was thanked for their help and they left. I remained in the area to assist with a neighborhood canvass, going door to door, handing out flyers, and speaking with residents. At approximately 2015 hours, I returned to the PD and was told we were done for the day. The reports and map track from the canine team members have been added to the case file. On Wednesday, August 16th, 2018, at approximately 15:30 hours, I reported for duty and was asked to respond to Aggregate Boulevard and Windham Hill to hand out more flyers and contact people in and out of the Windham Hill neighborhood. At approximately 1800, I was instructed to sit on the south side of the house and not allow anyone in or out of the home. I remained at that location until instructed to respond to the front of the house at approximately 2200 hours. At approximately 2212 hours, a search warrant was executed. I was tasked with perimeter security, not allowing anyone not authorized to step on the property. At approximately 2216, I notified Sergeant Bakes that the tow truck arrived on scene. I maintained the crime scene log, and at approximately 2328 hours after completion of the search warrant and evidence had been secured in patrol vehicles, I handed the crime scene log over to FET Officer Walg and left the scene. Nothing further. Officer K. Lines, 989, Frederick PD. And we're at discovery page 85. I'm 1 hour and 22 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and close so that then we can kind of keep each of these the same and they're not, too overwhelming. So we're going to begin the next time we record on discovery page 85, page 40 of 1960. I see that these reports are just kind of coming in to be put all together in this discovery. So while we see something may have happened afterwards that is read before, it's just the way all of the papers came in and they were all scanned and put together. So again, please write out your questions. We'll be doing lives. And I'll make sure that, everybody gets a time that works for them. I'll do lives at different times and all that good stuff. So, sorry this one was a little bit difficult to get through. We've got to go through the mud to get it all, to really figure out what happened. Because I sometimes just really, I don't know what happened. I mean, honestly, I think I know what happened. And then I go, I don't know what happened. And then I go, I don't even think I know the beginning of what happened. I don't think what they say happened. Do you guys go through that too? So thank you for listening to part 3 of our discovery reading of the Watts with my Tabitha Jane commentary. Thank you, and we'll talk again. Bye-bye.